For us, as the European Trade Union Confederation, the main outcome of this project is the European Quality Framework for Apprenticeship we are proposing. This framework is built on concrete experiences, 20 national cases and also 4 joint sectoral seminars, so it's a very concrete proposal. And for us, this tool, this quality framework, must be useful first for the trade unionists that would like to build proper apprenticeship scheme in their countries or in their sectors, but also it must feed the European debate on a possible European model of apprenticeship. It can be used to put flesh on the bone in the European islands for apprenticeship, but it can also feed the discussion of the social partners in the further steps we have to take together.
With this video, we are trying to get people across Europe, apprentices, companies, understand better what is apprenticeship provision and how we can improve it to better meet the needs of the labour markets. As part of the Employers project, we've been working mainly with the public employers, CEEP, and the organisation representing SMEs at European level, small and medium-sized enterprises, ETUC-BUSINESSEUROPE-UEAPME-CEEP. What we've learned through the project, working together with a number of sectors of the economy, like the engineering sector, the commerce sector and the digital sector, but also together with the organizations representing vocational education and training providers, vocational schools, we've been learning that you can make the difference in improving the cost-effective engagement of employers. The more an apprenticeship system will be demand-driven, and the more quickly will be the time when the enterprise will recoup the investments made in the apprenticeships. It's also very important that there is a co-investment part by the apprentices themselves.
I never wanted to study, basically. Never want to go to a university, but I like to do something with my own hands, to create something with my own thinkings. And I think, in my opinion, an apprenticeship is the best way to do this.
So in this case, when you actually have to study beside the school as well, work in a company and actually do everything that your journeyman does every day, you learn it in a completely different way. Actually how it works when you get out there for yourself, when you're done with the studies.
Ich wollte gerne etwas Handwerkliches machen nach der Schule, etwas, was auch abwechslungsreich ist. Und da war die Tischlerausbildung die erste Wahl.
My jako właścicielowi przygotowanie dobrego ucznia gwarantuje to, że on ma dobrego pracownika. Bardzo bym sobie tego życzył. Chciałbym, żeby oprócz jednorocznych, raz w roku odbywających się targów szkół, czyli szkoły się promują, zachęcają gimnazjalistów do wybrania takiej, a nie innej szkoły, żeby tej promocji było troszkę więcej. Czysto matematyczne wyliczenia nie istnieją, tak? Jaki jest faktyczny koszt wyszkolenia. Największym nie kosztem, a zyskiem dla mnie jako pracodawcy, ucząc młodego człowieka, to jest to, że będzie chciał pracę u mnie podjąć po złożeniu egzaminu, tak?
Well, in Denmark we have a dual system, meaning that the apprentices are around 60 to 75% in the company, working in the company, and 25 to 40% at school. And we think this is a very strong learning environment, learning while working, doing real tasks. What is the most important factor in developing apprenticeship programs in Europe, all over Europe, is the engagement of the social partners. We kind of have a mutual understanding that the training of young people in apprenticeship is a shared responsibility of the companies and the trade unions, of the companies and the employees, to ensure that we have a strong labour force, well qualified labour force in the future.
The recent reform of the VET program system does address a lot of the important issues for better quality of the system. And that is, for instance, creating better youth education environment, heightening the quality of education in schools.
Several forecasts they show that Denmark will experience a shortage in skilled labor in a few years, especially in some professions such as mechanics, carpenters, clerks and electricians. And therefore it's crucial that more young people choose a vocational education and also that more companies are willing to create more apprenticeship placements.
We still need to look further at the attractiveness of the system, the attractiveness to young people as well as to older people. And we need to be sure that we have a system which is actually responsive to companies' needs. And they are changing. Our world is changing, and so does the circumstances, the conditions for our companies, and we need to make sure that the apprenticeship system follows those needs.
Well, one of the strengths is that we do a combination of real learning experience within the enterprises in the responsibility of the employers on the one hand, combined with learning at school, at vocational school. A second strength is that employers are strongly involved in the curricula building process, so that they, together with trade unions, really identify the needs of enterprises, of branches, when they form the curricula.
The main strength of the apprenticeship system in Germany is that you have an added value for all the parties involved, for the learners, for the employers, and also for the society. For small and medium-sized companies, you cannot leave them alone in apprenticeship training. They need a help desk, they need advice, they need guidance. So we really have to make vocational education and training more attractive, and we have to inform the public, inform the young people and their parents about the advantages of vocational education and training.
We have a strong way of cooperation, a strong social partnership, and on the other hand, our apprenticeship system is very close to the labor market. That it's necessary to have not only skills in an apprenticeship, you have to educate competences, you have to educate knowledge. I think these are necessary to have these three principles.
Well, I think during the crisis there was an acknowledgement that the apprenticeship system wasn't broadly based enough. It was concentrated in one sector, in construction. Ireland is a technology hub, for example. 9 of the top 10 ICT companies in the world have their base in Ireland. So we needed to make it more relevant to a broader range of sectors. We also needed an apprenticeship system that focused on learning outcomes.
I do think it's extremely positive that a complete thorough review has been done, and it's also been linked to QQI, which is Qualifications and Quality Ireland, and so therefore the system being introduced is linked to a quality assurance system, so I think that's very positive as well. The fact is that infrastructurally the countries are different. The way countries do business is different, so to have a policy across all countries wouldn't necessarily work.
Well, currently we're looking at the prospect of broadening the apprenticeship system in Ireland. There are 25 existing what we call statutory apprenticeships, And they're based on the traditional apprenticeships around electrician, plumber, fitter, motor mechanic, painter, carpenter, and the trades that people would be familiar with. So in fact there are no apprenticeships in the what we might call the commercial end of industry, where in the financial services. So we're looking at, again, looking at the system of the CETUC principles for the new apprenticeship system. So I think if there's anything to be learned, it's to have generic academic qualifications and experience and competencies that the individual can carry with them as an individual and move from not only one part of one country to another, but from one country to another across Europe.
I think social partners can play two key roles. In particular, trade unions can play two key roles. Firstly, they can help to develop high quality apprenticeship standards which enable young people to develop good quality skills and also to make sure they're paid fairly. And I think that unions can play an overseeing role to make sure that the quality of apprenticeship programs is good.
Eu diria que seria importante que as empresas não hesitassem em admitir formandos aprendizes no seu seio, porque isso levaria a que elas também próprias se sentissem mais habilitadas a intervir no programa e simultaneamente permitiria que conseguissem integrar nas empresas futuros quadros qualificados que trouxessem uma maior competitividade económica para as empresas.
The possible action of social partner joint action is also with bilateral bodies and in particular providing training but also, for example, certification of skills.
It's always the triangle, we call it a kind of holy triangle. It is the company, it is the student and it is the school, and those three actors, they have to sit together and make the planning and evaluate progress of a student.
Well, at the beginning it should be mentioned that Lithuania is in the process of searching its best model of apprenticeship. The framework, which was developed by ETUC, will help us to define it clearly what is apprenticeship and how we should move. Another thing is funding. There are no financial schemes which are supportive to employers to develop apprenticeships. So they are not taking apprentices for this simple reason.
Here I would like to see more pressure actually on the member states to come up with reasonable and work-based solutions and giving industry a proper say in designing curricula and certification.
I think the project that we've just done with the ETUC is a key project because it clearly sets out 20 quality standards for apprenticeships, and I think that's really needed to show people what a quality apprenticeship looks like.
The suggestion at European level is to have a common definition.
The European Alliance for Apprenticeships is a wonderful tool that has to stop the listening mode and getting on the working mode.